Okay. We're going to keep Don Adams 5 minutes in the next hour. Then we've got expert on the imploding climate gate joining us. Big developments that affect all of us on that front, defeating the carbon tax. But Andy, I want to go to Robert, Fred, Shannon, and Wilson before our guest leaves us. His website's adamsjfk.com. Great information on the site and some DVDs documenting this. So you can have actual video interviews with our guest. But Andy, does that answer your question? I mean, we have the former CIA assassination team commander who overthrew more than 10 countries, E. Howard Hunt, on record, deathbed confession, video, audio, and written, saying it was the big event. They were going to kill him in Miami. They were going to kill him in Chicago, but they decided on Dallas because good law enforcement continued to find out what was going on the white side of things and stopping it. I mean, do you understand? We just have bombshell evidence, just stacking and stacking and stacking. I mean, what are you getting at here, Andy?
I was just basically wondering if he sees any of those other reports, would he consider them 100% lies, or do they try and mix in facts to make it blurry? But before he answers the question, I quickly wanted to say I wasn't around when Kennedy was shot, so looking back at the news is hard to judge. So I think it's key that InfoWars is around right now, because I'll tell friends, if you want to watch the news, a month behind things happening, watch the news. If you want to know things 2 months before they happen, start listening to InfoWars. So seeing the way politicians spin things now, the way the news comes out, it's totally believable that it would be a cover-up.
All right, thank you, Andy. Let me get a comment from...
I just want to mention one other thing to Andy. Andy, you have to know one thing, that my work has always been just nothing but pure facts. I'm not speculating, and I'm not turning the information around. A PD officer by the name of Baker, PD officer by the name of Baker and the superintendent of the Texas School Book Depository confronted Oswald 1 second after the first shot was fired. And he was standing there drinking a Coke in the Coke room. And 3 other employees who worked with Oswald saw him there. So my big goal is to eliminate Oswald as even being a part of this thing. He played a very heavy role as a patsy, and they let him...
He was a CIA operative that's now been declassified, hung out to dry.
Exactly right.
And all of you government operatives need to remember that and understand that. When they got caught torturing, we had the White House memos ordering it. They sent the people to prison who did the torturing. Okay? And then Bush came out 2 months ago and said, yeah, I ordered the torture, I'd do it again on TV. People are in prison for doing that. They will hang you out to dry. Remember that for all you operatives out there. Robert in Illinois, you're on the air. Go ahead. Robert drop. Fred in Ohio, go.
Yes, I've got 2 questions for Don. What was the 5 questions that he was allowed to ask Milteer, and what was the reason for the assassination? I know that JFK moved against the Federal Reserve Board, so I'd like to know that. I'll hang up and listen to the answers. Thank you very much.
I'll answer as quickly as I can. Federal Reserve Board was a very important decision that was made, and that had a very heavy impact on it. The second element that played a very heavy impact on it was to pull the troops out of Vietnam. When you take a country from military and put it back to civilian, there's a tremendous loss to a lot of people as far as big dollars is concerned. And so those 2 elements, I think, played a very, very strong part. I don't know the answer to this, but I speculate that they were involved in making it, getting that decision to take him out because of that. And let's see, the other thing that you asked was...
The 5 questions.
Oh, the 5 questions. I'm going to try to remember them as best I can, but one of them had to do with Martin Luther King when he was killed. Another one, the second question, and these are just short paragraphs with answers and stuff because I couldn't go into any...
Tell you what, stay there. Back in 70 seconds, we'll finish that question, then get to more calls. Briefly, from what you said in the last interview, the questions you were allowed to ask Milteer were basically distractions from the real questions, and that's why you thought it was a cover-up.
Well, he asked a question about the Kennedy assassination. Did he have any knowledge of it, okay? Once he answered no on that, I mean, the question was done. I couldn't probe into it. What did he know as far as Martin Luther King's direction as to where he was going? It was the same thing with that. And then the bombing of the 3 children in Birmingham, Alabama, what did he know about that? And he said he knew nothing about it. Yet we know from information developed after that he had heavy discussion concerning the bombing of those 3 kids in Birmingham and of course, the Kennedy assassination and so on. I mean,
and then he died mysteriously. Let's jump to Shannon in Mississippi. Right. You're on the air.
Hey, how you doing, Alex and Mr. Adams? Mr. Adams, I just want to get straight to a question for you. The man that filmed that famous video that everybody has seen, I've watched it over and over and over. I just wanted to ask you a question. The man that filmed that video, was he ever investigated? Was he a part of the CIA? And also, Mr. Adams, when those first shots were fired, did anybody ever investigate or even look at the driver of the limo? He took a wrong turn. Is it possible that maybe he could have fired that fatal shot? And when it was fired, Mrs. Jackie Onassis was trying to jump out of the back of the limo, and then they put her back inside, and the limo just drives off.
Well, that's a lot of questions. What was the first one?
About the man that took that famous video.
Yeah, Zapruder.
Okay. I saw the original Zapruder film before it was changed and altered, and the actual shot into the throat and the back of his head being blown off, which you knew there was another shot from the front. Before that film that I watched, which was a copy of the original, before that went out into the public and started getting dissected, and that as far as frames is concerned, that was legitimate, and those things did happen just as they showed.
Yeah, and from my research, it's pure quackery that the driver turns around and shoots the president, and I've blown up the video. I've looked at it.
Sure, and he did stop the car twice, and almost completely to a dead stop, which is against.
Yeah, so clearly in on it's what you're saying.
Sure. Well, what I'm saying is,
what about turning around and shooting him?
No, that didn't happen, and there's a lot of people that have movies and stuff of that, and that did not happen. But
yeah, well, the guy that put that out also said that he's seen videos that aliens shot of the crucifixion of Jesus. So
yeah,
I mean, give me a break.
I can understand that. Now, the thing is that when this guy stops the car and does what he did, that just troubles me terribly, because these agents are trained to know exactly how to react. And the minute that a report goes out from a weapon and that, hell, you get the hell out of there. You don't stop the car and almost come to a complete stop.
Well, you don't send the president out when people are openly talking about killing him, or you at least have the armored limousine.
But see, all that stuff disappeared. I mean, they went to the Secret Service, and they went to the FBI in Washington, went to the FBI all over in that. Atlanta knew about it. My partner knew about it, but I was never told. And all I'm saying is that because I was a new agent going into that office, even though I was 32 years old, had been through Korea and everything else, they thought that I was naive and I wouldn't pick up on any of that stuff. And as a result of it, assigned a case to me, because why would you give I mean, I was 13 years younger as far as service was concerned than the guy that I was working with, and then why would you assign a case to me? And then I find out later on, many years later, 1993, 94, or even later than that, when we went to the archives, that Morrell McGraw did an investigation on Milteer in 1962, a year before me.
All right, we're out of time.
Okay.
Don Adams, thank you so much. I look forward to speaking to you in the near future. God bless your courage, sir.
God bless you, too, and thank you for helping and trying to get this to the public, Alex. You're doing a marvelous job. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir. We'll be right back. Hi, folks. This is Alex.